Recent studies confirm what many of us have always known, that the number one reason for relationship breakup and breakdowns is lack of communication. It's obvious really, isn't it, when you think about it? My therapist, who's stone cold fantastic, says open comms at all times. You've got to be communicating. You've got to do the hard work of communication, the sort of down in the trenches spade work of communicating, of telling someone how you feel. If you're like me, you might feel like that kind of crosses over with nagging and manipulating. Like, hey, I don't like it when you do that. I'm feeling this. I'm always banging on about my feelings. Can you imagine being in a relationship with me? It's hell. But the the thing is that I have been schooled now in communicative techniques like that old classic, when you, I feel. When you don't talk to me, I feel like you don't care about me. When you bring up my family in a negative way, I feel like you're attacking me and where I'm from, and I don't feel safe to have my family around. When you, I feel. That's the classic. It is absolutely vital in a relationship that open comms continues. I feel like in my relationship, I'm pretty lucky because me and my wife, we're good mates. But I've been in lots of relationships in the past where I suppose they were more, I would want to say, kind of romanticized perhaps, or intense in some way. And I suppose I didn't communicate honestly because I felt vulnerable. I suppose let's think about what are the reasons people don't communicate. They feel that they're going to be judged. They feel that their feelings don't have value. They're not used to communicating. They come from families where people don't communicate. And let's look back at that generation, if you're roughly my age. Men did not know how to communicate. Women primarily, I'm talking about the sort of background I'm from, got into roles of codependent service. It was very, very common. You hear these patterns reiterated and explained again and again when you talk to people. But I would say that in my relationship, what I try to do is I stay aware and I register my feelings. Oh, that made me feel inadequate or insecure or alienated, or my expectations aren't being met. If I feel very strong feelings, I try and talk to somebody else prior to my partner so that I don't make my wife kind of responsible for my well-being, which has been a tendency of mine in relationships to, maybe it's, without going too much into my own personality, oh, what the hell, so only child, single parent family, just grew up with my mum. For me, the idea that a woman is responsible for everything seems like it was something I had to get over. The way I get over it is I recognise that I'm responsible for my own feelings. I recognise that. And part of being responsible for my own feelings is I communicate openly and honestly when I'm hurt and unhappy. As a safety checks and balances type thing, I often communicate with another person to take the edge off. Like if I'm feeling very inferior or inadequate or stressed or pressured, that I don't communicate well under those circumstances. It's a real risk to communicate openly, but it's a risk that you have to take if you want to be in a successful relationship. You have to become aware. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I want. This is what's upsetting me about the other person's behavior. Because I feel that we continually make the mistake in relationships of expecting another person to change when really it's only ourselves that we can change, of expecting somehow that people will know what you're thinking just because they're in a house and a bedroom with you. They won't. Forgetting that everybody is different and we all have, even in an intimate relationship, we have completely different perspectives. What I learned off Brené Brown, she told me men fear being perceived as weak and women have body image issues. That's just from a data research perspective, just on the analysis of a huge amount of data. So, but of course, there are very, very complex variations within the sexes. But I suppose that makes sense to me because I don't like it when something happens that makes me feel like I'm not looking after my family, and that leads to that kind of classic male tendency to want to fix problems. When my wife's telling me stuff, it takes a supreme effort to go, that sounds difficult, rather than, well, why don't we do this? Well, we'll do that, that will happen, and we'll arrange this, to just sit back. I really see it as my role to solve people's problems. That's not actually just with my wife, that's with anybody, as a matter of fact. Is if people tell me their problem, I think, I must be able to do something about this. That's called people pleasing in 12-step parlance. Through communicating around the difficult issues that come up in a romantic relationship, sex, jealousy, all of these things. Through communicating, we can find common ground, or we can discover incompatibility. Compatibility, I was taught, is not sameness. My wife and I are very, very different people, but we're compatible. Like, I'm me and she can tolerate me. That just seems like the compatibility, the basis, the platform go forward. Also, like, you find it's nice when you can operate as a unit, if you can really hear what people are telling you. Oh right, she's been made to feel inferior there, or she doesn't feel safe there, she feels judged. Oh my god. You know, if people don't communicate, you're in a lot of trouble, because you've got to do guesswork, and all of us bring our own subjective experience, and it's difficult. It's very difficult to learn how to read other people. You'll like it when Malcolm Gladwell comes on Under the Skin, because he talks about our inability to evaluate strangers, because in his opinion, and according to research that he has used, there is no universal facial expression mechanic that we're all tapping into. We're always misreading one another. So my suggestion is a pretty obvious one. If you're in a relationship with someone, communication is absolutely vital. If you're not comfortable with communicating, start slowly. Use those when you, I feel statements. Just become aware of what it is that you're feeling. Become aware of your tendencies. Observe your patterns. Me, I use a 12-step technique that uses inventorying. So I recognize, oh my God, I've always done this in relationships. How I can sit openly and candidly telling you on your phone, I know that I make women responsible for my well-being. It's because I've inventoried my life. I looked at how I felt growing up with my mother. I looked at how I felt when I was a kid living with women that I just met, not paying rent. You know, like I've been in a lot of unsafe situations, so my tendency is to try and control, to make, you know, all of that stuff. Because I've done that work now, I still feel the same feelings, but when I'm doing it, I think, oh no, you're doing that thing again. This isn't going to work. It's not another person's responsibility. So communication and self-examination, these are the keys to a positive relationship, which you deserve. Although if you're not in one, don't be afraid, you'll be okay. So if you want to remain in a relationship, communicate. If your relationship has ended, you might want to watch my video, Surviving a Breakup, or my reflections on exes and how to get over them. The link is in the description below. Thanks for watching. Hello, I'm doing these new videos more frequently now. Please hit the notification button at the end of this video, because then you'll get like a little bell when I post a new video, and I'd like you to get a little bell when I post a video. Then I can, I don't know, be buzzing away in your pocket. Sounds like I'd be like a little pocket mosquito. Anyway, subscribe, click the bell, because I want more people to watch the YouTube videos. You specifically.